Good evening, everybody. Billy O here, zooming in today from Aruba, where a lot of old people vacation. This is the old cast. I don't know, I'm up to like 2.8 now, I think, for August 17th, 2021. Today's very special guest is the chairman of the board of the Huns, Matt Mitchell. Before I turn it over to Matt, let's get him a little bit of BB King walking music. BB King is the chairman of the board. So's Matt.
I like it. Hey, y'all.
DoorMatt, how you doing?
Doing great. How are you? Wish I was in Aruba.
I'm doing really good. I wish I'd been in Seattle.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And thank God they were streaming it. I hear they're going to get all the matches up so that we can rewatch everything.
That'd be awesome.
For folks that have been living under a rock, we sent a group of guys up to Seattle this weekend, and they came home with the hardware. Matt, why don't you just talk to us a little bit about that experience? What was it like to be up there and watching the guys play?
That was definitely pretty exciting. It was a really nice facility, and watching them get to play in the stadium was awesome. What was even better was there was a bar overlooking one of the fields, so we could yell at them from up there while they were running towards the try zone, and that was really exciting. Then the last match was probably my most favorite, though, because almost the whole stadium was rooting for the Huns against Life West. So it was a pretty amazing experience to have a bunch of people other than, there were 4, 6 or so Huns there that were watching, cheering on the other games, and then almost the whole stadium was cheering. So that was awesome.
Coach Adam texted me that after we knocked off Western Athletic Club, which is a Seattle team, in our second match, rebounding from a loss to the Chicago Lions, that as the club walked in front of the stands to go from point A to point B, they got a nice round of applause from the local fans. It looked like there were a lot of people there.
There were, yeah. You could definitely tell there were tons of local fans cheering on some of those teams. And then also, I think some of the other teams that were traveling and knew about us were for cheering us on for sure, like the other Texas teams and things like that. So it's pretty awesome to have Huns support no matter where you go.
Before we go further, I got to ask you, what's up with that hat? I saw Adam giving Phil some shit, and I thought that was a mock-up. No. We actually had 3-peat hats made.
Yeah. I don't normally wear hats, but I like this one a lot, so I've been wearing it the last.
Are there multiple of those? Can I get one? Can you mail me one?
I could definitely, if there's still some left, I could get you one, definitely.
Dude, those had to have gone fast. That's really cool. For folks that don't know, we have won the Regional Sevens Summer Championship 3 seasons in a row. And that's a big deal because the Dallas Reds are really good and they specialize in the summer in sevens. So if you beat them, you've done something. Yeah. That's a very cool hat.
So I was actually wearing it on the trip on the way there, and some of the Reds were on one of my flights through Dallas, and they walk up behind me and say they said, "So this asshole Hun was saying," and I was like, "What?" And I turn around, it was the Reds there. So they thought it was pretty funny too. The hat. It was Phil.
So I tell you what, talk to us a little bit. We lose the first game, tight game. We had a couple of opportunities to score tries that we just did not quite capitalize on. And when I say opportunities, it was a forward pass that could have gone either way on a call that took back a try. Brandon had what looked like a breakaway, a couple really bad breaks. So we lose sort of a heartbreaker in the first match, and then came back and had a pretty good day one. Why don't you talk about day one a little bit?
Yeah, it is. I mean, for me, at least, it always seems like the first match of the day in the tournament's always, the kind of the most nerve-wracking. So it definitely took us a bit to come into it, it seems like. But once we were there, it was, the rest of the matches of the day were awesome and very exciting to watch.
Well, we really played West Side Athletic tough, and I thought beat them better than the score indicated. But man, there was a moment in, I think it was the second half of that match, right under your bar position,
Yeah.
where I had my heart in my throat for a minute, you know, from the TV feed and from what the announcers were saying on the stream. It looked like we were going to get a couple of red cards, be down to five guys with a couple of our key players gone for the rest of the tournament. You were right there. Why don't you talk about that moment a little bit?
It was, you know, nothing too bad about the tackle that happened, but the guy that got tackled, I think, took offense to it, and he came up and kind of squared up right away. And I think that just, you know, instigated a little response like, hey, back off, man. And then it was over just as quick as it started. So,
you know, it looked to me like Brandon was throwing haymakers. You said it did not look like that up close.
To me, it just looked like he was trying to get him to back off because the guy was squaring up straight away, but it happened super quick. So I didn't, you know, haven't analyzed it too much, but it seemed like kind of a normal response and reaction, and then it was over.
Well, you know, the referees talked about it for a really long time. And I guess when he's done with rugby, Corey's going to have a future as a lawyer, because he seemed to make his case pretty good to the ref, and he only got a yellow. We closed that match out, and then we ran Oceanside right off the field, man.
Yeah. There were some other fans up there next to us that weren't there. It was just 4 of us dudes up there, I think. There were a few others that traveled, but I can't remember if they were with us for that match, but we were definitely outnumbered up there, and it's getting pretty chippy as we started to take over those guys. So that was fun too.
You know, my daughter's a Marine, and her boyfriend, who's also a Marine, I say significant other, probably, they're living together. He had a bunch of friends on the Oceanside team because that's right next to the Marine Corps base.
Oh, interesting.
So y'all were playing some Marines, and he and I talked shit on Friday.
Yeah.
And he was out getting his hunting blinds ready and stuff for hunting season. So I had to text him the bad news.
Yeah. Yeah. There were a lot of teams there that I didn't really know much about before. So it was interesting to learn about where they're from. And a lot of the local teams I hadn't heard of before, was reading up about them and talking to their fans. Seems like good programs from all around for sure.
Well, so let's fast forward to Sunday. The guys hopefully got a good night's sleep. We came in second in our pool, job done. We've proceeded to the quarterfinals, played Chicago really tough. There was even a moment in Chicago's last game where it looked like they might lose. And if they did, we would have actually won the pool on point differential. So I think it's really remarkable. The Huns were right there. Day 2 comes around, and, you know, there's just no two ways about it. We ran into a buzzsaw in the West Side Ronins, another local team. So we had to play 2 teams that were sleeping in their own beds, eating home cooking.
We had some big away team disadvantage there with the amount of fans they had in the stands too.
And we came out a little flat. I mean, there's no two ways about it. We came out a little flat that game. And, you know, by the time we got going, it was already like 21-0 or 28-0 or something like that. But, you know, one of the things that blew me away this weekend, and I'm curious as to your thoughts, is there we are again. You know, we got punched in the mouth in the first game, but holy mackerel, did we rebound against New York, Old Blue, and then Life West. Those clubs are big scalps.
The Old Blues game, I had watched them play the Denver Barbarians earlier in the day, and knowing both of those are really great clubs. Their match was like a 2-point difference or something. So going into our match versus Old Blue, I was, having watched both those clubs play such a tight game, I was a little nervous, but then we kind of blew them out of the water.
They scored a late try.
Yeah.
In fact, they scored 2 late tries, but one try at the death that made the score look a lot more respectable than the game really was. I watched
Yeah.
New York Old Blue on Saturday, and they put on a track meet against somebody. I don't even remember who it was, but they ran them right out of the stadium.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. We're a good team.
Supposedly, they beat us pretty badly in Philadelphia at one of the regional qualifiers a couple of years ago.
Oh, really?
So they were stunned and shocked, according to Kretschmar and Adam.
Didn't they also beat the Blacks D1 for nationals one year pretty recently? I don't remember exactly when, but I remember hearing their name because of that as well.
Well, dude, point being, Western Athletic Club on Saturday is a huge scalp. Oceanside was a play-in like us. They weren't invited, so they earned their way into the tournament throughout the summer.
Yeah.
Then you beat New York Old Blue on a rebound game. I mean, holy mackerel, it was great. And then Life West, perennial national power. They've won national championships in 15s.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
For the plate final.
Yeah. It was an awesome game to be there for.
What was that last game like to watch?
It was super, super exciting, very nervous because I obviously hear Life West, it's a big name, but then, you could kind of tell when it's on, and it was just got exciting from there. It was awesome to cheer them on. And I think the rest of the stadium really enjoyed that match as well. And we're getting pretty into it. It was exciting. HTX and Reds were there rooting for us too, I think, at that point. So go ahead.
Except for 7 minutes, that first half against the Ronins on Sunday, our defense was really remarkable. Definitely. All weekend.
Yeah.
We won that last game particularly, but all the games of that last game particularly with defense.
Yeah. We made them make mistakes or strip the ball in the ruck several times when I was a little scared that they were getting close to their red zone or whatever. And then our defense stayed great and we got our own ball back just by being persistent.
Dallin Stanford was traveling, so he couldn't watch. And he texted me right at kickoff asking me for an update.
Oh, yeah.
And so the irony of it is I'm texting Dallin Stanford updates during our finals match.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
It was pretty funny. All right. So if I'd have told you a week ago that we were going to go 4-2, make it through to the quarterfinals, win the plate, and arguably you could say we could be ranked high as third because the teams we lost to ended up in the finals.
Yeah.
And we beat such incredible teams like New York Old Blue and Life West. Would you have thought I was crazy?
I mean, I'm always rooting for the club, so I wouldn't say I thought you were crazy, but that's definitely a pretty amazing outcome that I couldn't have predicted very easily.
My family asked me if I was sad that we, didn't make it to the semis and the finals. And, of course I would have loved that, but I'm blown away. I'm very impressed by these guys and by the coaching of Adam Scheidler, Brian Wellborn, Alex Reese, and Ryan Kretschmar. Just incredible. And we're a real club. I would bet you that our average age of our player of the final 8, we're probably the youngest club there.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're not loaded with, MLR guys whose season just ended. We're not stacked. We don't specialize only in 7s. We don't have a huge budget. We're a true club of young guys, and we went out there and played with the best of them. And I just think that's an incredible testament to these guys, to our coaches, and to our 7s program. I think we had 45 guys or something like that involved in sevens this summer.
Yeah, several tournaments with 3, even 4 sides. It's pretty amazing.
Well, we had like 45 guys out at practice and stuff. That's an amazing number for sevens.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's also a real cherry on top, in my opinion, after a great 15 season. I mean, if you look at 15s, top of the table in Texas, and now you look at sevens, playing our win in Tola again, playing our way in to the national championship tournament, and finishing a super strong 5th.
Mm-hmm.
Arguably, I don't know if the club's, well, at least in a long time, had a season this incredible. I mean, it rivals the national championship D1 season, in my opinion. I think it rivals when we went all the way to Westerns in the
Definitely.
open division back in the day. I mean, this has been an incredible run, don't you think?
Yeah. No, one of my best years as a Hun yet, for sure.
Well, I am just absolutely super proud of these guys. I want to show one more picture before we move on to another topic, but
Oh, yeah.
look at these two happy guys here,
Yeah.
holding up the plate.
I look pretty good after all the beers I had watching the game all day.
You don't look drunk at all, man.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That's, we got to get our clubhouse built so that we can put that in a great place, because we sure did
Exactly.
deserve it.
Yep. Along with all the others.
So you've been chairman now of the board for what, 2 years?
I think so. Yeah. Time kind of flies, so I don't know exactly, but that sounds about right.
And Hansel was chairman for 2 years before that.
Right.
So, Hansel had to help us recover and rebuild as leader from when we, had to restructure and lost a lot of players and stuff with the professional team.
Yeah.
And Hansel has stayed very involved in an administrative role, helping out you and the board, and Wheezy, Luis Sanchez, our director of rugby. And you've been chairman through more of a stabilization period, I would call it.
Yeah.
And we've had a really good year. What do you think, about this last couple of years, and what's in store for the future of the Huns?
Yeah, we got a lot of great leaders in place, and it all builds upon itself. So, nowhere to go but up, and it'll keep going up for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you. If you look at what happened this year on sevens, one of the things we've done over the last 4 years is built our old boy network.
Yeah.
And we raised
That's awesome.
We raised $8,500 from the old boy network, basically. We've got another grant of like $1,700 from the TRU. I don't know if we covered 100% of the expenses for this trip, but almost.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing to see, for sure.
The Reds raised less than that for 2 teams. They posted on Facebook. I still thought it was a great amount they raised, but for us to do it for the whole team is just incredible.
Yeah.
We got volunteers out the wazoo helping in a lot of ways. It really, seems to be good both off and on the field right now. What do you think?
Yeah. No, amazing support from the non-players, the administrative side, coaching, players, everything, all very positive this year. And staying a strong Huns community, that's what we've always been, is paying off.
Well, man, as the sun sets on this interview here in Aruba, is there anything else you want to say to the guys before we sign off?
It's very, very, very proud weekend to be a Hun, and happy to have been there. And I still want to watch the stream, because being there in person, wanting to relive that moment. It's good to hear that the Rugby Network's going to repost the games and stuff like that. So it'll be
Yeah,
exciting to watch.
I saw that Tony Ridnell posted a Vimeo of
Yeah.
the final,
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
and he said they're going to post all the matches, but we need to be patient and give them time. You know,
Cool.
and I mentioned Tony Ridnell. I saw Flip handing out awards. I know there was a huge committee of people that
Mhm.
put on that tournament, but it really seemed very well run, very well organized.
Yeah.
What a great facility. This is the second time this year that the Huns have played some sort of tournament or tournament final in an MLR stadium. I mean, rugby's really come a long way from back in the day when my cronies and I played on that teeny little pitch on the Barton Springs side of Zilker Park
Yeah.
that was basically made of concrete.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was an awesome facility. I was jealous of those guys getting to play there for sure.
All right. You know, as we close, a couple thoughts. There's an election for our board of directors underway right now. If you're watching this video and you have not yet got a ballot, you need to reach out to Mike Conroy, or if you don't know who Mike Conroy is or you can't reach him, you can reach out to DoorMatt or me, and we'll get you hooked up. If you're watching this, you're probably on Facebook, and that means you can direct message me or DoorMatt. The other thing I just want to say, I just got off a Zoom call with my daughter, who I said earlier is a Marine.
Oh, yeah.
She has two friends, two roommates from officer candidate school that are sitting in the airport in Afghanistan right now with all that crazy going on, trying to get out. So,
yeah,
you know, we still have some service people at risk over there. Have a good thought and say a prayer for them.
definitely. Yeah.
Anything else you want to say to the group, Matt, before we sign off?
Up the Huns. Awesome summer, awesome weekend, awesome year.
Up the Huns, man. I'm like cheered out after 15s and 7s this year. It's been crazy great, and just a testament to our players and coaches and all you volunteers behind the scenes that donate or help out or just come to the games and yell. Let's keep it going.
Takes the whole community. We're all here for the guys.
All right, man. Take care. Thanks very much for making time to do this.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Huns.